call the Chickasha Industrial Authority meeting to order. Need a roll call, please.
McCarty.
Here.
Elliott.
Here.
Kent.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Doublethwaite.
Here.
Grayson.
Here. Item number 2, consent items.
Move that we accept as presented.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kent.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Doublethwaite.
Yes.
McCarty.
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item number 3, discussion, consideration, of possible action on a request to share the cost with the Festival of Light to install lights north of the dam at Shannon Springs Park for an amount of $8,136.
Make a motion to share the cost with the Festival Lights to install lights north of the dam at Shannon Springs Park for the amount of $8,136.
Second.
Jim and Keith, we have this in the budget, right?
We do. It's not a specific line item by itself, but we set aside some money in the budget this year for things that would come up during the year that weren't identified at the time the budget was adopted. That's the long answer. The short answer is yes, we have money in the budget.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming this is to accommodate the North Pole Village area?
Yeah, our goal was, we worked with City Parks Department, and we were hoping that they would have time, and we kind of reached a point where it was either due or not due, and according to Spencer, they didn't have time to get, it's the lights that go in the trees. It's not any of the other stuff, okay? So, but if those of you that have been out there, if you compare it to years past, it's, I hate to use it, it's night and day. Because last year was a black hole. There were just a few lights. This year, you feel like the area north of the dam is literally part of the Festival of Light. You don't feel like it's a separate area. So the Festival of Light Board made a commitment, spent some money, and so far the results have been outstanding. I think you can expect the Festival of Light Board to continue to invest in that area with more equipment. I wouldn't be surprised if the Festival of Light Board didn't come back to the city and ask about running some additional electric for the food trucks, like they did a couple of years ago. For those of you that didn't know, the Festival of Light made a donation to the city in excess of $100,000, and that allowed the city to go out to bid, and they put in electric along the dam area, okay, on the north side of the dam. Now, as that area grows and the electrical requirements of the food trucks are more than that, the Festival Light Board will look and see if they could do something again so that the food trucks aren't running off of generators. But the point in all this is the Festival of Light wants to invest more, to draw more people, to enhance the experience. These lights were essential for this area to feel like it was part of the park. And so I had a conversation with Keith on a late Friday afternoon, and he suggested that I might bring this to the CIA for consideration. The bill's already been paid by the Festival of Light, so now what we're asking for is consideration by the board to split the cost. Keith, does that sound accurate?
Absolutely.
Just to add to that, I was out there all the evening Saturday. I'm a Festival of the Light board member, so I get to serve on various nights, help supervise. I was out there Saturday night and the previous Saturday night as well. And that area was, out north of the dam, was densely populated with lots of families looking, taking lots of photographs, seeing Santa. It was a hub for activity, and the parking out there got consumed quickly. And so, it's a real attraction for the Festival of Lights. So we've seen it as a real success right out of the box from where I'm sitting.
Well, that's good to hear. I was hoping to improve the concept this year and then the following years invest down in that area. Because I know food trucks wise, same with the food truck championship, we can get rid of those generators. It just creates a whole new ambiance down there. And then, you lessen the cords that are running every which way and all that good stuff. So, no, it's awesome. I think also you'd have to talk to the food truck operators, but I think moving down there versus across where they were, they're probably a little happier with sales, and that also in turns with a higher commission percentage to the FOL. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody in the long.
And the Festival of Light did change operations on how they collect the commissions, and in their first week, the commissions were much higher than, what we've traditionally seen. I think we'll see, it wouldn't surprise me if we see double amount of revenue generated by the food trucks this year compared to last year. Part of that will have to do with the system. The other part will have to do with the fact that there's heated tents, there's something to do. But again, I just want to emphasize that this is, in my mind, just the beginning of how we continue to grow this event. Something that's been around for over 30 years. How do we sustain it? But then how do we also make sure that as all the other towns want a Festival of Light, we stay ahead of the pack. So I believe the Festival of Light board is willing to make the commitment to the city to continue to grow it, but would certainly appreciate consideration for this.
Well, you're exactly right. The people have been coming, the families or tradition, they're coming for 20, 25 years, to see, even if it's just minute new things, it brings new life to the venue for them. And, like we do in our retail shop, we may not have any product, but we at least shift things around so when you walk in, it doesn't look the same. Little trick of the trade there. But I think it's fantastic. I've been out there several nights, obviously, and the FOL board and everybody involved is doing a great job. So I just really appreciate what it does for Chickasha. We have our few complainers that live around the park, and that's okay. I get it. It's 6 weeks of pure pain for them, trying to get home and everything, but all we can do is educate them, and hopefully they can come on and see the bigger picture that it does for Chickasha and their neighbors. They're small business owner neighbors and the people that work at those small businesses that benefit from it, and it's a win-win for me.
One add to that, when it comes to traffic control, Matthew Stockman has been noticing every night when there's been a lot of cars, there's been issues, and he's redeploying people and bringing in new people and adding staff to help move traffic much more quickly, much more efficiently. So
yeah. What's
happening has been identified and is being addressed as much as we can as we go through that. So anyway, it's a moving target, but we're moving on it.
No, you're exactly right. And at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to please everybody to 100% satisfaction. All you do is best you can.
Give you ammunition as you respond back. So.
Well, I found that if you go talk to them in person, the response is a lot less than their email. Right?
I would imagine.
So when they complain to me about the traffic and all of that, I just smile and say, yes, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, in a roundabout way, that's exactly how I handle it. I love it.
Yeah.
I know it's a
I
pain.
did when there was no traffic. So,
Any more discussion on item number
Just one other
two?
quick thing. I think it's important to note that as we have gotten feedback from people that live in that area, residential area, there's not a whole lot we can do, but if we can do something, we will. So we've done some small things in terms of trying to highlight lights that says, please don't block driveway. We've added a barricade. We've added a staff person as the line backs up before 6 o'clock to try to prevent cars from closing off that neighborhood. So there's not a whole lot we can do. And to Tim's point, we want that traffic. But if there are small details, we certainly want to do what we can to work with the people in the neighborhoods.
Well, and I think there's one individual in particular that is more impacted than others, so he says. But I think even his complaints are being addressed, and we're making progress.
That's
Which we should, and I think
that's
I
right.
think it's,
So our goal is to listen to any feedback we get, and if
Yeah.
there's anything we can do, we certainly want to do that.
Any more discussion on this item? Roll call.
Ginn,
Yes.
Smith,
I think I should abstain as a
Yes.
FOL member of the board.
Ebbswaite,
Yes.
McCarty,
Yes.
Elliott,
yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item number 4, updates from Jim Cowan. Do you have anything that I hadn't already talked about?
No, I just want to remind everybody, especially since we had the work session, that the goal of having me on this agenda is, unless something unusual comes up, I probably won't have a report, but because I'm on the agenda, if there's questions, they can be addressed. And I thank all of you for coming to the EDC meetings beforehand, so that, we don't want to waste anybody's time. Everybody's busy. So I'm not going to go on and on, but I appreciate being on the agenda, so that it gives you all an opportunity to ask any questions. If I don't elaborate on something during an EDC meeting, or maybe I don't even address it, this is your opportunity to ask questions about our financials, what we're spending money on, why we're doing one thing or not doing something else. We just want to make sure that EDC, with its annual contract, we want to be a good steward of that and be able to talk to CIA members in these meetings. So does anybody have any questions?
I just want to say I appreciate the EDC coming to that. To my knowledge, that was the first time that both those groups have been in the same room in their entirety and were able to have open dialogue like they did. And I know at times it got a little tense. You could cut the air with a butter knife, but it gives everybody a chance to get it off their chest, say what they want to say, get it out in the open. And I think that is the number one step to help break it down those walls that have been put up over the years.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We want to work closely, and we want all the citizens to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it.
And if I could add one thing, in the financials in your packet, we did include a detail listing. So, and so I did stay last night, and I've got it just to be more transparent, what every charge was for. And next time I will make sure that you all get a copy to see. So when you look at the detail listing, you'll know, what was this spent on. The detail listing hasn't been included before. Anyway.
So I went through this and that generated some questions. I missed last meeting. So did we ever have we did that?
Last meeting, yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. If you wanna
Okay,
sit down with us, we can.
I will. I just want to understand. So there, Jim, I don't think it's gonna do any good. I think I just need to blow my head off. So I was going through this and it was kind of funny. Municipal pension. So you go down and you read that, and so it appears we have the Oklahoma Medical Research Foundation, not the Oklahoma Municipal Finance, yeah, pension, yeah. So that's really all I had. I've got some more questions, but
Okay.
I've got it now, so I can. Now here was one on the cleanup, the citywide cleanup. So we paid $26,000 out of the CIA for the citywide cleanup.
Correct.
And we had some hazardous waste. How did we have hazardous waste?
And we opened it up we had the ability for people to bring hazardous waste. And that's what we advertised for them to be able
To
to
drop off the old motor oil or household chemicals, paint.
$26,000 worth of it.
If I may,
$16,000 worth of it.
if I may, I think that was a matching grant through the EPA. They could only take so much in hazardous waste, which is what you see, and then so they got a lot more, but it was basically twice that much because the Environmental Protection Agency paid for the rest.
No, they're actually reimbursing us for all of it.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yes, we did not hit the maximum that they would take, and so that we had set as our budget, and so they will be reimbursing us for all of that. We just don't have that reimbursement yet. They'll be reimbursing us for 100% of the cost of that cleanup this year because we applied for a grant. We received, I believe it was $30,000 from that grant, and so it's a reimbursement grant, and so we'll get all of the hazardous waste back. All of the signage that we paid for to advertise, the regular household waste that we paid to Waste Connections. The tires actually were paid by the state already, so we didn't have to worry about that. And then the other part that we will receive reimbursement on is some staff time. We did have a lot of overtime to work that event, and they are able to compensate for staff time.
So does Waste Connections, do they work with us any on that? Because all the trash for this cleanup day is trash that they would be taking anyway.
We do receive, I don't want to tell you the wrong number, but we do receive a certain number of free roll-offs. I think it's 2 or 3, but again, I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and look at my emails because I don't remember. And the cost for that, it's very cost effective, what we're having to pay as far as the big roll-offs. I wanna say we're usually like less than $10,000. We usually budget 10,000 for it. We're always under that.
Yeah, Shay, this is not necessarily trash, it's just like kitchen trash and stuff like that goes in. This is stuff that if people have, they can bring like a charcoaler, they bring large items that, it just, bulk items that will never be picked up by Waste Connect through a normal pickup. And they bring them there, and we also have people there that, will help them pick them up and load them in the roll-offs because we have a front-end loader because people can't lift all that stuff by themselves. And they bring trailer loads in. I mean, it's not just like something that you would normally, people clean their garage out,
Lots of mattresses, couches.
And,
we had several code cases that were able to get a lot of their garbage that they were, out of compliance. They brought that, and that really helped a lot of our code cases.
Now people can't get rid of their tires, they can't get rid of their batteries, all types of hazardous waste that they take care of. And I always use the example that not this year, but one year, a guy brought in a bunch of mercury he had. Why he had mercury, I don't know, but I mean, he had it in his house and had a big mason jar full of it. And you gotta get rid of it, and there's no place to get rid of it unless you go through some of these things. And so, like I say, this year was a pretty successful event, and like I say, in fact, one guy brought in 2 trailer loads of tires. And backed them up, so I mean, you have to go out there and see the volume that actually
So
goes.
what'd you do with the tires, cause you can't take them out of landfill?
No,
The company, so Waste Connections has a company that they connected with to come get all the tires.
Okay, good.
And those tires, I believe, are all recycled. Once they leave here, we are not responsible for them
They go to
because
Duncan.
we set up like a whole agreement with every one of the providers. We weren't responsible once it left. We collected, I believe it was 498 tires.
Oh my gosh.
And those were all residential tires, or like regular car tires. We could not accept any like agricultural. There were some smaller like lawnmower type tires. Yeah.
So I've got 10 of them laying out
So next time you
south
bring
of the turnpike that showed up this weekend. So I'm gonna pick them up, get rid of them. So I went over the tickets last spring when I got the bills for the EDC, if I remember right. And so there was some of those roll-offs didn't have 50 pounds worth of trash in them.
I can tell you they were all full this year.
Okay.
It was like 50 tons of trash.
Good.
I would be happy to share all of that. I've
Oh,
got it.
I don't need it.
I have it all in our grant application. I just can't flip off of this screen because I don't know what will happen to our recording to go get it. So.
No, Waste Management just needs to, we are a huge customer of theirs, and so they need to just.
They do a great job working with us on that day.
Good.
And they've got typically 2 drivers constantly making routes, especially that Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they make several routes, but then Saturday it is constant.
we use that front end loader to actually pack stuff down in there to make sure
We have them
loads
very
are
heavy.
more than full.
And EMI is who we contracted with for the hazardous waste this year. They said, especially with this being our first ever event, this was one of the more successful that they've seen for a town of our size. They were very pleased.
EMI's a good group.
I really liked working with them.
Anything
That's
else?
all I got, I just had some
Oh, you're
questions.
good. Then I would move on to item number 5 and take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.